Now, let's move on to the next chapter. The next chapter is revenue. As we have talked about costs, now we should talk about income. Revenue. Revenue of a firm is the money receipts that a firm gets from selling its output. Correct? So it is in a way the income of the firm. It has three types: total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue. Let me just talk about total revenue first. Total revenue is defined as total amount of money that is realized by the firm from the sale of its total output, and P into Q is your total revenue. What is average revenue then? Average revenue is the revenue per unit. That is total revenue divided by quantity. But total revenue is price into quantity. So price into quantity divided by quantity. Quantity and quantity will cancel out. So this implies that average revenue is nothing but price. Now let's talk about marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is the addition made to total revenue by sale of one more unit of the commodity, and it can be calculated as total revenue of the nth unit minus total revenue of n minus 1th unit. That is, एक successive में से पिछला minus करेंगे तो we will get the marginal revenue. What is the change in total revenue due to the sale of one more unit? So now I hope that it is clear to you how to calculate AR, MR and TR. Now let's study the relationship between AR, MR and TR. AR and MR both are calculated from TR. Correct? We just did the formulas. And now summarizing the relationship between TR, AR and MR in points, we can say that MR is the rate of change of TR. So if TR is increasing at increasing rate, MR is increasing. If TR is increasing at a decreasing rate, MR is decreasing. If TR is increasing at a constant rate, MR will be constant. And TR, when it gets constant or maximum, MR becomes 0. And when TR falls, it implies that MR is negative. The same has been shown very clearly in the diagram, which you can look and study. Now we have to discuss the shapes of the average revenue and the marginal revenue in different markets. Average revenue would be equal to marginal revenue under perfect competitive market. Why? Because in a perfectly competitive market, the industry is the price maker. अब इंडस्ट्री जो प्राइस निकाल के फर्म्स को दे देती है, वही प्राइस पे फर्म्स को अपना सक्सेसिव यूनिट भी सेल करना है और वही उनका एवरेज प्राइस बनेगा. सो दिस मीन्स एवरी सक्सेसिव यूनिट विल बी सोल्ड एट द सेम प्राइस. सो AR will always be equal to MR and it will be parallel to the OX axis. अब TR, in this case, you all can judge that TR will increase only at a constant rate because MR is not changing. So TR will be an upward rising straight line. When AR and MR are less elastic, it implies which market? Yes, it implies monopoly. The various features of the monopolistic market situation are one seller and large number of buyers. Monopoly is also an industry. No close substitute of the product being sold. Monopolist is the price maker. There are restrictions on entry. Monopolist practices price discrimination. We are familiar with all these features, but we have to discuss the shape of the demand curve and the shape of AR and MR curve under monopoly. Under monopoly, since the people do not have much choice, there is only one seller. And moreover, no close substitutes of the products being sold are available. So the elasticity of the demand will be less. Thus, the demand curve will be less elastic. And AR and MR curves will also be downward sloping and less elastic. You can take a look at the diagram below and be familiar with the concept. AR and MR will be more elastic under monopolistic competitive market. In case of monopolistic competition, since the product is differentiated and people have a lot of choice, there are a large number of buyers available in the market. So demand curve would be more elastic, that is, it will be flatter. Similarly, AR and MR curves will be separate and they will also be flatter. So you can take a look at the diagram below and familiarize yourself with the concept. Now let's study about oligopoly. Oligopoly refers to the market form in which there are few sellers. The word oligopoly has been actually derived from two Greek words, that is oligoi, which means few, and poly, which means control. If I put it in the words of Dooley, an oligopoly is a market of only few sellers offering either homogeneous or differentiated products. There are few sellers that they recognize their mutual dependence. So its main features would be that there are few sellers, number of buyers is quite large, product, please note, can be homogeneous or differentiated. Product was homogeneous in case of perfect competition and was differentiated in case of monopolistic competition. But here it can be both. Then there's a lot of expenditure on advertisements. Price rigidity is one of another elements of an oligopolistic firm. There's mutual interdependence regarding price and output decisions between the sellers, and there is an element of monopoly. Then another point to be noted is that some barriers to entry are portrayed so that no newcomer can come and join the industry. Then these firms under oligopoly even have non-profit motives. And now moving on to the shape of AR and MR curves and demand curve under oligopoly. Under oligopoly, the shape of the demand curve is very peculiar. First of all, it has more elastic demand, and then as you see that from K to D, that is capital D, it has less elastic demand. OP price shows price rigidity. If the price is tried to increase from this point, what will happen? The demand will become more elastic. And because of the fact that elasticity of demand is changing, this curve, the demand curve, is kinked at point K. So this is a special point to be noted in case of oligopoly. Similarly, under oligopoly, the AR curve is also kinked, and MR curve is also firstly more elastic, and then it becomes less elastic, but over a range MR is very difficult to be calculated, so we leave it broken. Now let us talk about some numericals regarding AR and MR. One of the important ones, I have done it for you here, so just check it out. In this schedule, quantity is provided to you. For the second unit, price has been provided to you, and for the fourth unit, the price is missing for first unit and for third unit. Similarly, marginal revenue is provided to you for first unit and third unit. For second and for fourth, it is to be calculated, and total revenue also for the first and for the third unit has to be calculated. For second and fourth, it is being provided to you. Now see, for the first unit sold, the MR is 16. So this means that from 0 unit, the change in the first unit is that of 16, or for that matter we can say that first unit was sold for 16 rupees only. So 16 will be equal to the TR, and 16 will also be your price. Now for the second unit, TR has been provided to you as 24, correct? And for the third unit, TR is missing, but MR has been provided for the third unit as 6. It had to be the difference between third and second unit. From what should 24 be subtracted that the result should be 6? Answer is 30. So we can put that 30 is the TR for third unit, and if I divide it with 3, I get price as 10. Correct? And how we have to calculate the MR now? For calculating the MR, we simply have to subtract TR for the second unit, and we have to subtract the TR of the first unit from the TR of the second unit, that is 24 minus 16. So 24 minus 16 would be 8. So for the second unit, MR is 8. Now that we have 30 with us, and we know that TR for next fourth unit is 28, 28 minus 30 would be minus 2. And with this, our whole chart is complete, and we have been able to solve the numerical very well. I hope it's clear to you. Likewise, simple examples you can check out and do. Now we move on to the next section, that is producer's equilibrium. So the next topic which we are going to start is that of producer equilibrium. So we have already done with the concept of consumer equilibrium in the last unit. Now let's see what is producer equilibrium. A producer is known to reach equilibrium at that level of output which gives him maximum profits, and he has absolutely no incentive to increase or decrease the output. So it is clear to you, that means कि जब producer अपना maximum profits का level achieve कर लेता है, तो वो अपने आप को उस equilibrium में पाता है कि अब उसको अपनी output को increase या decrease करने का कोई भी incentive नहीं लगता. So this means that producer is in equilibrium and he's getting maximum profits. How we calculate this producer equilibrium, or how we establish that producer is now in equilibrium? The same can be done with the help of two approaches. One is called the total revenue, total cost approach, and the other is called the marginal revenue or marginal cost approach. So let's talk about the total revenue, total cost approach. In this approach, the total cost curve will start from y-axis because it includes what? Fixed cost. And fixed cost is never zero. Similarly, your total revenue will also start somewhere from y-axis. The range over which TC is greater than total revenue is showing loss, and the range over which total revenue is greater than total cost is showing profits. And in this range, when the gap is maximum between the two, that is जितना total revenue total cost से ज़्यादा है उतने ही आपके profits ज़्यादा हैं. और नीचे, if you can see in the diagram that when this gap is more, the hill जो बन रही है profit curve की, which is being represented by pi, is maximum. So this will be producer's equilibrium when the profits are maximum, or in other words, the gap between TR and TC is maximum. In the diagram, you can see points A and B where TC is equal to TR in two situations are called break-even points. Whenever any two things are equal, that point is called as break-even point. Now, we know that TC is starting from y-axis and TR is also starting from y-axis, but TR will start from origin had it been a perfectly competitive market, because you know that for perfectly competitive market, TR increases at a constant rate and it is an upward sloping straight line. And the pi curve represents your profit curve. In economics, pi refers to profits. Now, let's move on to the second approach of finding or establishing producer's equilibrium. That is done by finding out the marginal revenues and the marginal cost. This is also called as the marginalistic principle. So according to the marginalistic principle, equilibrium will be achieved at a point where MC is equal to MR. But as MC is U-shape, it can cut MR at 2 points. So we have to be specific about the fact, and this forms the second condition, that MC should cut MR from below, or MC should cut MR when MC is rising. Friends, under perfect competitive market, since MC will be rising but MR will be a straight line parallel to the OX axis and MR will also be equal to AR, we can say that price is equal to marginal cost can also be the alternative profit maximizing condition. Whereas in the imperfect competition, maybe monopoly or oligopoly or monopolistic competitive market, falling MR will be equal to the rising MC. So where they will cut each other, that will be the equilibrium for the producer. Now, another type of question which is sometimes asked in the examination is that you have to explain that area under marginal cost is actually the total variable cost. This can be explained in simple two lines, that marginal cost is the additional cost by definition, and as additional cost can't be fixed, it has to be variable. So the area under MC will automatically be total variable cost.